If you're a musician, hell, if you're a human being, you've seen the headlines. AI is taking jobs and it's killing what's left of the music industry. But I want to share something with you up front, and it's not gonna land the same for everybody. My opinion may not be popular, but here it is. AI isn't going anywhere. Sticking your head in the sand, being a tried and true purist, I don't think that's a strategy. And if you're in it for the long haul, I think it might be a fast track to irrelevance. I could be wrong, and that would be okay. If you're an older musician, if you're out of the game, mostly out of the game, this might not apply to you. But let me know in the comments how AI is showing up in your world, because I am curious to know what your thoughts are. Leave them down in the comments. Here's the thing that I think is hard for a lot of us to admit. AI isn't new. We've been using AI tools for decades now in music and other creative fields. If you've ever snapped a drum beat to a grid, you've used predictive math. And if you've ever nudged a vocal with auto-tune, you've used a narrow agent AI. We panic every time a new technology comes on the scene that makes it easier to create. The UK Musicians Union in 1982 even tried to ban synthesizers, driven by fears that synthesizers would replace real musicians. And that was Barry Manilow's fault, because he toured with synthesizers instead of an orchestra. Damn you, Barry. But the truth is, every time, new genres came about and music has somehow survived. The thing is, we have renegotiated where human value lives. That might be uncomfortable, even debatable. And if we're going to talk about AI honestly, I think we have to be clear about what we're actually talking about, because all AI is not the same. First, there's predictive AI, the matchmaker. Think about Spotify, YouTube, the algorithm that brought this video across your timeline, Instagram, Facebook, all of those things are predictive AI. Predictive AI doesn't create, it organizes and uses considerably less energy. And then there's role-based AI. Think about things like stem separators, Moises, Songmaster Pro, Logic Pro 10, and any other tool that will allow you to separate stems, for example. These tools don't necessarily replace the work that musicians need to do. It just makes the work more efficient. Well, now let's talk about the heavyweight, generative AI. This is where the real ethical and environmental concerns show up. And this is where the conversation gets a little bit messy. Generative AI does not organize. It creates something completely new by computing massive amounts of data that it's been trained on. And that takes a lot of energy, far more than something like Spotify recommendations. Now, the exact number depends on the model and the infrastructure, but the direction is clear. As generative AI scales, so does the demand on electricity, water, and data centers. Let's say 1 million people hit generate just to see what happens. We're not just creating content, we're also creating very real resource costs. That's not meant to cause a moral panic, but that's just math. So as artists, musicians, creators, educators, we do have to ask ourselves, when this instant gratification or experimentation, is it worth the ecological costs? Then of course there's the conversation around training data. And that's another ugly, controversial part of the conversation. Models are trained on existing work, and artists have every right to ask where credit, compensation, and consent fit into that picture. I think a lot of the conversations happening in our world today are more yes ands than they are yes buts. We have to be honest. Haven't we been training ourselves on existing data, for decades now? I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, and I have a hard time today telling one pop artist from another. They all sound the same, similar looks, if not identical looks. I mean, few things are really unique these days. But where does that leave us? If you or I can make a perfect record in minutes, then the record is no longer the product. And once the world gets flooded with AI perfection, I think people are going to get bored. I think folks are going to feel some real digital fatigue. maybe you're already there. I think that audiences are going to want that human connection. They're going to want to be in the room. I think they're going to want to hear those imperfect notes.
And the Rockets,
They're going to want to have stage banter. The live show is a place where AI can't compete on an emotional level. Now listen, I'm just trying to start a dialogue. I'm not telling you that you should or shouldn't use AI. I mean, as I said before, it's kind of hard not to on some level. I mean, I use AI tools when it makes sense to use those tools. I use them for the research, planning, and production of this video. AI can make our work more efficient. It can remove friction and open doors. But what's important is that we keep in mind the human AI human loop. The human has to filter everything through experience, taste, and intention. Look, the music industry has been broken for a very, very long time. So certain things that are happening shouldn't really be that much of a surprise to us. While there are obvious costs that are becoming more evident and will become more evident, I think there are opportunities that are going to present themselves as well. Let me know in the comments what you think those opportunities might be and how you feel about AI in general. I'm just as awestruck as everybody else is right now. But I do think the opportunity is going to be in live music particularly. It's going to force us back on stage, and it's going to force us to be better storytellers. Let me know what you think in the comments. It ain't rocket science, it's pocket science. Peace.